Good morning, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and it is a foggy Wednesday morning. Well, it's 4 degrees here in British Columbia. Should make it 39, translated into American. I went wow because as I turned the car on, it was 6 degrees. So taking my car away from the, still 1 second, from the protection of my trailer, dropped the temperature by 2 degrees. That was interesting. It's really foggy. It's probably down to about a block, which is going to slow my progress a bit this morning, which is unfortunate. Because I'm already, no, actually I'm about on time, but I don't have a lot of room for fog, if you know what I mean. I'm on time if the weather had been totally clear. Now, the reason that I say it like that is because it was a difficult evening last night. First of all, I managed to leave my cell phone at work, and probably a lot of you going, I had it plugged in to charge it and forgot to unplug it and put it in my purse. So you can imagine my heart skipped a beat when I realized that. At first I thought I'd left it somewhere, and then I realized no, I never unplugged it. It was still plugged in to my computer at work and on my desk in full view. So this is where you go, I could panic, or I could just go, it is what it is. It's either going to be there when I get to work or it isn't. And that is the whole reality. It's either going to be there or it isn't. And quite honestly, no amount of worrying is going to change one of those two factors. By the way, beating up on myself about how stupid I was to leave it there isn't going to change it either. So I'm not going to waste my time doing that. I literally realized what had happened and my heart sank, obviously, and then I went, okay, but it is what it is. Nothing's going to change it. So I lived last night without my cell. Now that doesn't sound like a big deal, but I guess I realized last night that it is. I had no idea that I multitasked at night in a big way. In other words, I have my television on to check the news. I have my computer on because I'm transferring video. And then I update other things with my cell. I couldn't check on my little fancy band thing that tells me how much movement I've done. I mean, there were all sorts of things. I kept going, oh no, I haven't got it. Can't do that. I didn't realize, I couldn't text downstairs to Yvonne or Wade and tell them. I had to actually send them an email and say, please don't text me because I'm not going to get the message until tomorrow morning. So if it can wait until tomorrow morning, send me a text, but if it can't, email me or come up the stairs and tell me. Okay, so, I mean, we're so used to using our cell phones as an intercom device sort of between upstairs and downstairs in my place. So it really was quite funny. Now then, I also went last night on my way home and got my car serviced. And I was horrified to hear them say, da-da-da-da, leak, da-da-da-da, leak, da-da-da-da, leak, da-da-da-da, leak. I can't remember what they all were, but one was crankshaft, which we know isn't too healthy. One was my steering column, which we know I'd had problems with. One was steering column fluid. Just basically anything that was a fluid had a leak on it. And I know enough about cars to know that if you go to fix those, we're talking into the multi-thousand. We're not talking multi-hundreds. So I took the free car wash at the end of it, which I very nearly didn't. But I thought, no, do not panic. It is what it is. Do not panic. So I had my car washed, which was a nice feeling. And then I started to think. First of all, while they were doing the service, I had them put in some special stuff for my crankshaft to hopefully help seal those leaks. Even on a sort of temporary basis. Now I've got to look at the other stuff and see if there's any additives in it. You know, they've come up with so many fancy things these days that some of these things are fixable from the inside out, if you know what I mean. You can put an additive in with whatever liquid you need, and it will help seal. Now, it may also be that it just needs a tightening. Then they were talking to me about a brake flush, which apparently had never been done. And this was early on, before I found out about everything else. And then they told me they couldn't do that because the bleeders on my brakes were all rusted. And they were scared to try and undo them because it might break them. And they wouldn't be able to get them back on, you know, do them back up again, in which case I'd be just bleeding brake fluid. So, you know, it begged the question, is there anything going right in my car right now? And the answer is, sure it is. It appears to be working quite well this morning. Now then, how am I going to cope with this? What am I going to do about it? Well, I'm going to first of all pray that having my car serviced regularly, which I do, and topping up all the fluids, which I do, will solve half the problem. Now that might mean that I need to check those fluids more regularly. And if that's what needed, then that's what I will do. Because I'm pretty sure that putting fluid in on a very regular basis is going to be less costly than putting new gaskets in. The other thing I'm going to do is talk to some people who know cars really well and see what they recommend I put in. I'm going to sort of make a list of the things that are wrong and see what I can, what additives I can add into the system. And then I'm going to let it go. And I'm pretty sure that mine is not the only car in the world that's leaking a bit of fluid here and there. Now, from my driveway, I'm pretty sure I'm not leaking gallons of the stuff. It's spots of the stuff. And so I'm going to give thanks. I'm going to give thanks that when I got the trouble with my steering when I was down visiting, just before I went down to visit Benji and Judy, that all it was my steering column fluid. And I did ask the question of my sort of instant oil change people. I'm going to call it that because I don't want to call them by name. I did ask them the question, if that fluid was topped up, how come it ran right out? In other words, whoever did the service on my car last time did not check that and fill it up. I'm pretty sure of that now. So I'm going to give thanks and be happy that so far so good. And the upside of this may be that with a lot of TLC, that the car will last me many more years with its slight leaks. Let's hope so. So this is a lesson today about panic, if you like. A choice between peace and panic. I could totally awfulize this. I could totally have spent the night absolutely desperate because my phone has been stolen, which it hasn't, as far as I know. I won't know that until I get to work. And I could have spent an absolutely sleepless night in tears, going, how am I going to possibly pay for all the work that needs to be done on my car? And I've got an old car, so then you've got to think about, is it worth it? I've got a really well-maintained, beautiful old car. Do you know what I mean? The paintwork's good, the inside of it is pretty spotless other than my personal stuff on the floor. The actual inside of the car is pretty darn good. So, no point in panicking. It is far more realistic. You see, that's what I look at. What are the odds? We were talking about the odds yesterday in terms of things like measles and everything else. What are the odds of this being a major problem? And how high are the odds? Obviously, they just went up with that knowledge. So, the next thing is I'm going to get hold of my garage and get a realistic quote as to what it would cost to go in and fix all those leaks. And they won't be able to give me a definitive one because until they see where the leak is, they obviously don't know how serious the work is. So I may need to take my car in and have them have a quick look at it. And then start saving towards fixing some of these things in order of importance to the car, or the ones that I cannot control with an additive. And, as I said, how do we know that some of these things just don't need little things tightening to stop the leak? So my car will probably go in for a double check now. Now that'll cost me money to have my garage check it all, but at least then I've got a realistic idea of what it might cost. Not that I've got that money. But then I make a decision. What am I going to do about it? Am I going to sell the car? I'm pretty sure I'll get next to nothing as a trade-in on it. It's, you know, like me, a bit archaic. But as I said, you would never know that if you see it driving down the street. It's in beautiful condition. Touch wood, it stays that way. So I'm a happy camper at the moment. Because at the moment, I just have knowledge that could scare the life out of me, but I've chosen not to let it. And for all I know, it can stay that way for many years. I wonder if that makes sense to anyone. And I wonder if that makes sense to anybody in terms of helping them reframe some of the things that happen in their life. It has taken me a lifetime to understand this, you know, and to be able to reframe things that happen to me. And to be grateful for what is working rather than being miserable about what might not be. Hey, I can still get in my car. Oh, just an update for any of you who don't know. We thought that Paul was going to have his first zap of radiation yesterday. It turned out that he's got to wait another week, apparently. I'm not quite sure why. But he has to wait another week before they will do that. So that's difficult for him because he got himself all psyched up. But owing to the fact that he's sitting in Boston with an awful lot of snow, that's a good thing. So in terms of peace or panic, I'm getting closer to work, and I prefer to stay in peace until I have reason to panic about my phone. And I really don't believe that there is a reason to panic. I will make sure, I will do everything I can. I can't say I'm going to make sure because I can't guarantee that. But I will do everything I can to put a comment at the end here for you to let you know whether I found the phone or not. Because I know some of you will want to know that. This is dear Mama Sal saying, have a peaceful day. It will be your choice. Bye-bye for now.